Cool.
Sorry, were you going to say something, BK?
No, go ahead, please.
Okay. This part of the video to me was very problematic, the whole thing, really. And I kind of just wanted to park here and just kind of address some of the things that he said, because some of what he said needs some clarification, but then also some of what he said needs some correction. So I just want to go through some of his quotes. I have them here. I don't know if you want to put them up, BK.
Sure, share your screen. Share your screen.
Oh, no, I don't know how to share my screen. I'll just tell you what I'm looking for, the part where he said the bit about how any entity that comes into the world is subject to the discretion, that part.
Okay. Yeah, you want to play that again? I can play. Can I have it?
Okay.
And then, is 1822? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can play that right. Okay, cool. I'll play that.
And any entity that comes into this world is subject to the discretion of that woman. All right. She's God because she has the power of life and death. She could terminate you. She could abort you. Right. We want to get more technical. The X chromosome has 2.8% more genetic material than that of the Y chromosome. Every human being gets their
So, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it just piqued my attention because I feel like he's presupposing that the woman's ability to give life, to produce life, I should say, and the ability to terminate that life or to let that life continue is somehow confirming that she created that life, that somehow she's a God that created that life. But if you look at you know, conception, it's really in relation to the woman. It's a passive process. She literally has nothing to do with it. Okay, so obviously we understand that a male and a female get together, have sexual intercourse, fertilization, conception takes place, all of that stuff. But how many women do we know who, you know, with all of their heart want to get pregnant and don't have the ability to? And how many women do we know that really aren't interested in having children and they get pregnant? I feel like he's giving power to Polight'S, is giving power to the woman that she really doesn't have. And then that being said, even if you look at the process of development, of fetal development, none of that is under a woman's control. Certainly she influences it by her diet and by stress levels, by rest, all of that stuff. But influencing doesn't mean that she is the creator of that life. And so I just think that his supposition that women are creator and God because they have the ability to bring forth life is flawed. They're not the creator. I don't know if anybody else has anything to say. I have a lot to say.
I was jotting down some notes on something you said, because that's really important. So, and again, this goes back to what you're saying about, like, what does it mean for them to say that the Black woman is God? But to your point, number one, if we're using the capacity to bring forth life, or to deny life as being evidence, you know, that the Black woman is God, right? Mm-hmm. If we're gonna take that seriously, then we'd have to conclude that Black women who are barren for, you know, whatever reason, they say that if they can't have children, then we would have to not regard them as God. Like, that Black woman would not be God, right? Mm-hmm. So then now you can't say the Black woman is God. You have to say, well, some Black women, you know, Black women who have the capacity to bear children are God. Mm-hmm. But then when you think about it, we could take it further, because what if you have a Black woman who, say, at age, 25 is able to have children, and then due to some sort of, genetic malfunction at age 27, she loses the ability to have children. That could happen. So now you have somebody who at age 25 was God, but now at 27, they're not God because they no longer have that capacity. You see what I'm saying? Or what if you have a situation where a woman who just, for whatever reason, let's say it's in some country where it's like a Muslim country, she's accused of being promiscuous, and they forcibly, remove some organs that would allow for her to reproduce, or they injure her in some way, such that they remove her ability to bear children. So now, somebody who's supposed to be God has now been acted upon in such a way that they no longer have that capacity that supposedly was a qualifier for making them God.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then you'd have to conclude that whoever took that ability away, you'd have to say that they would be God. But of course, a male could have done that. So now you got the black man is potentially God as well. So you see how this logic, once you kind of start placing, this capacity at such as at a level that's like this qualifier for godhood, if you will, or some sort of attribute that's indicative of godhood, and that capacity can be taken away, then you run into all these different problems. And this is really what I'm really leveraging is what's called the logical law of identity. If there's a difference between A and B, then the A and B can't be the same. And that's just the law of identity.
Right.
So there's a difference between the black woman and the black woman who doesn't have this capacity anymore. One's God and what isn't. That really says a lot about the argument that these guys are.
Also, if a woman has a stillborn, then she failed at being God.
Oh, great point. Yeah.
She failed at being God. She made an attempt and failed.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah. Okay, so the next part where you just might have to track it back. That's showing my age, isn't it? You might have to rewind it a little bit.
Okay.
To the part about
the clip I had, the timestamp I had is 1822 to 1851. So do you want to play that?
Yeah, the bit about how 2.8% genetic material, that part.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to get more technical, the X chromosome has 2.8% more genetic material than that of the Y chromosome. Every human being gets their cognitive abilities from the female, the mother, not the father. It's a fact. All you gotta do is study chromosome 7, study chromosome 8.
Fact.
What happened? Say again?
You can stop it. That's a fact.
Okay.
It's not a fact.
Okay. All right.
So I just wanted to talk about this part. It really grieved me because he brings up the X chromosome. And because he does that, I just want to give a little bit of background to genetics and how genetics works. He seems to be mistaken. Okay, so just very quickly, very superficially, human beings have 46 chromosomes in every cell of their body, not the sex cells. They don't have 46 chromosomes, just every other cell. Those chromosomes occur in pairs. So you have 23 pairs of chromosomes in the cell. You have chromosome 1, 2, chromosome 1, chromosome 2, chromosome 3, all the way to 23. As I said, each of those chromosomes occur in pairs. Chromosome 23 in humans is responsible they're the sex chromosomes. In females, females have two X chromosomes, males have an X and a Y chromosome. So he is correct in saying that females have more genetic material than males. First off, the Y chromosome is much smaller than the X chromosome, and so it doesn't hold as much genetic information. But as well, because females have 2 X chromosomes and men only have 1, of course they're going to have more genetic material. But that doesn't mean that they're more intelligent. In fact, early in fetal development, one of the X chromosomes of females is inactivated. And so it's not that women have more intelligence because they have more genetic material. Both males and females have the same X chromosome. It doesn't infer higher intelligence. And then the part about it was hilarious to me that's a fact. Chromosome 7 and chromosome 8, like I said, every chromosome is a pair. He said that if you check chromosome 7 and check chromosome 8, that it infers cognitive ability. So I went ahead and I looked at the genetic mapping, not for 8, but I did look at chromosome 7, and it has over 1,000 genes on it. Some of those genes do code for cognitive ability, but by far it's not major on the chromosome. But even if we go with him and say that chromosome 7 and 8 does code for cognitive abilities, he's misunderstanding that that chromosomes occur in pairs. You get one from your father and you get one from your mother. And so this idea that cognition or that trait only comes from your mother or from the woman is false. You don't understand how genetics works. You get one set from the male and one set from the female. I just wanted to point that out. Does anybody have anything to say so I can take a breath?
Bars.
That's bars. You just dropped the mic like crazy. All right.
The geneticists out here, yo.
Whew.
It's just.
But Christians don't read, right, Adam? We don't read.
We don't read. Nah, we don't know.
You don't read.
We don't know nothing.
We don't study.
Right.
Woo. That was
and
nuts.
So let me go. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at what I wanted to talk about.
Hey, nah, go for it.
Oh, that was just freestyling. That wasn't the main point you want to make. Wow, I'm scared.
Those are the bars. Those are the preliminary bars.
Preliminary bars.
Right.
We get to the main stage bars.
All first verse.
You know what I mean?
You said a lot that grieved my spirit.
Wow,
Right,
I could see. I could see.
And this is what you do for a living, right? Isn't it right? Did somebody said that in the chat?
Not even looking. I have a degree in biology, so I know a little bit about it.
So that, yeah, somebody said that in the chat. Yeah.
Subtle flex, humble brag.
I want to make sure we got that on record because cats. Oh, you don't know. I mean, people want to
right.
credit Christians at every turn. So I just want to make sure this is we got that on record.
But then they'll flip and be like, "Oh, but she got the degree from the white man." You know what I mean?
You're right.
They were white. That's true.
But BK, they got their information from the white man.
Yeah, they seem to skip over that part.
A lot of those authors are white.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the part about we get did he say this already? Did you play the clip where he said that her brain is more symmetrical? Did you play that part?
Yeah, we played it before, but we can play it again for you.
I can run it back. Yeah, I can. Let me see where I'm at.
Rewind.
Right. It's like the mixtape version.
You know what I mean?
I can't remember where it is. I'm just gonna go ahead and start it from the beginning of that clip. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That comes into this world is subject to the discretion of that woman. All right. She's God because she has the power of life and death. She could terminate you. She could abort you. Right. We want to get more technical. The X chromosome has 2.8% more genetic material than that of the Y chromosome. Every human being gets their cognitive abilities from the female, the mother, not the father. It's a fact. Oh, study chromosome 7, study chromosome number 8. This is a fact. This is no cap whatsoever. Okay, so we get our ability to make rational decisions from the woman. The woman has 2.8% more genetic material. Her brain is more symmetrical than that of a man, which means she's qualified to be more intelligent than a man. Potentially, it's a race between.
Okay. So again, he's misunderstanding. This is a discussion about brain asymmetry. A normal brain develops not symmetrically. A normal brain is asymmetric. Both sides of the brain are responsible for different functions, and so you would expect that that structurally and functionally they're not the same. They're asymmetrical, and so there's actually recent studies that have come out that say it's not a direct link yet, but they are observing, let's just say that autism has been seen to be linked with a brain that's more symmetrical, not asymmetrical. And so for him to say that a woman's brain is more symmetrical than a man, which automatically qualifies her for intelligence, is opposite to the truth. Asymmetry is what cerebral development produces. Asymmetry, not symmetry. He was incorrect.
Whew.
Biology bars.
Man.
It's like that's like what you call like in like WWE, like the reversal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
About the symmetry, but actually the opposite is the case.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? That's tough. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think he says this a little bit later. I don't know if
Oh yeah, I can play another clip.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
It's your world, Dnew. Let's go.
Full clip.
The Bible is God.
Right. We actually he can't. I mean, he really can't even rebuttal this, right? Because according to him, the woman has a greater capacity for intelligence, and given the fact that you're more well studied in this area, like he doesn't even have any room to rebuttal.
So technically, he is proving his point right now, right? Because Dnew is.
Actually, he was right. So
he was right all along.
He was right. Oh man.
The most intelligent if we take an aptitude test or whatever. But on a
Can you rewind that a little bit?
genetic level,
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, it's a race.
Mm-hmm.
get our ability to make rational decisions from the woman. The woman has 2.8% more genetic material. Her brain is more symmetrical than that of a man, which means she's qualified to be more intelligent than a man. Potentially, it's a race between who's the most intelligent if we take an aptitude test or whatever. But on a genetic level, by default, she's more brilliant than a man because her brain is symmetrical.
You said stop right there?
Yes, thank you. So this is, I say this about the prosperity gospel. When I talk to the bodega ladies, I talk about how people are just so enamored with sound bites that sound good, but they're not true at all. And what he just said, potentiality is a race between who is the most, potentially it's a race between who is the most intelligent. He said something like that. I don't think I quoted him directly, but basically, so he's saying that it's a race between males and females by way of aptitude tests to see who's more smart. But your potentiality comes from your biology. So you're saying that it's a race between men and women if they take an aptitude test to see who comes out on top. But your genetics determines your potentiality. For example, I say I want to be a model. Okay, I'm 5'3", but I look 5'4". I'm 5'3". Okay, I don't have the potential to be a model because my genetics hasn't determined me to have that potential. And so I just wanted to point out the flaw in, the soundbite, it sounded good, but it's not really true.
Yes, ma'am.
That's facts. You're right. Because according to him, if genetics is all we're playing with, so to speak, then it wouldn't make sense to say that there's some sort of race. He would just have to say, well, since they're genetically superior,
yeah.
Then where's the race then? You know what I'm saying? Right. The potentiality, right? I got you. Yeah.
You said it better than me. Thank you.
No, cool. I'm with you. The logic doesn't follow. Right? No, and actually, this is an interesting point because, one thing we try to do is not just respond to objections, but we want to kind of decode some of the logic. And one thing that I think you find is that a lot of times these guys, they've got great recall. They've got the ability to recall information and read a lot, which is a testament to them. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of times what you find is that they piece together different facts that they come across with bad logic, right? So that's why with Zion Lex, for example, going back to the language thing, he could say something like, well, only God is, portrayed to be the savior, or, whatever it was that he said. And then he kind of, if the woman is referred to as the savior man, and therefore she's got these divine attributes, and he's kind of using that to buttress his claim about the black woman being a god. But see, the thing is, he's presupposing that a shared property of some sort or a shared attribute, therefore, it establishes the identity of one thing or another. It makes that this must be that. Right. It could just be a shared property. But again, he's going from a legitimate knowledge of the language, but he's making a fallacious logical inference about the sameness between two things that have a shared property. So that's what these guys tend to do. You know what I'm saying? They kind of piece together different information, but you got to watch how they glue it together with bad logic.
Yeah. And they, you know, the one thing that I noticed, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but it's just really, this clip was just a really good example of how you can sound confident in what you're saying and literally not not make any sense. I just think that it's necessary sometimes to just remove the fluff from things and to go to the substance.
Amen. Yeah, it's called Strong and Wrong.
Strong
and Wrong.
Right.
Right.
And then the final clip, you can go ahead.
The final incision.
Is it the 22 mark? Is that what you're talking about?
The 22:10 mark?
As I completely sever the artery.
Right. Like, remember that dude? I wasn't allowed to watch the. I think it was Indiana Jones 2, where the dude rips the guy's heart out. I wasn't allowed to watch that. But I feel like that's what we got right now. It's just like Mortal Kombat. You know what I'm saying?
Fatality.
Yeah, fatality. All right, here we go.
You know, a woman is supposed to be your wisdom, as we say, right? She's our eyes and she's our ears. She lets us know if someone is good for us or someone is not. Even my grandmother used to be able to sense if I had a bad friend before I knew the friend was no good for me, you know? So that's another thing. We know by dictionary definition, a God is one who is in control of a specific aspect of creation. It doesn't mean that men don't control specific aspects of creation, but they don't control more specific aspects of creation. They don't have as much exclusivity. A woman has the gestational period going on in her body. A child is animated, 9 months conception, right? A man has very little to do with that other than what he can do on the outside to help make an environment more conducive for her to deliver that child in peace, right? A child can be terminated if that woman is stressed. The child takes the bullet. There's nothing we can do as men outside other than do our best to make sure she's happy. Because when a woman is born, she's born with all the potential children she will ever have. This is a fact. She's born with all her ovate cells already. She's born with her generations already. This is a fact. And when you look at a grandmother that's conceiving a child, you're looking at one woman representing 3 generations. Because if a woman has all the children she will potentially have, ovate cells, then a woman who's conceiving has a child, if that child's a female, that female child already has all her potential children. So you're looking at 3 generations, just looking at the grandmother at one point in time. If your child has a child, we actually was able to see 2 or 3 generations ahead. And so we got to consider that. And so all her emotions diffuse into her bloodstream. Okay, all the anger, all the stress, all the duress diffuses into her. So this means what? We literally have to serve a woman if she's conceiving.
You can stop.
Why? Well, it only makes sense.
Sir. Okay. He said a lot there, and I just feel I'm just going to address the last part of what he said. He said that all her emotions diffuse into her bloodstream, all the anger, all the stress. I just want to say publicly that you do not find emotions in the bloodstream. I just want to declare that you do not find joy, you do not find mirth, you do not find giddiness, you do not find anger in the bloodstream. You do find hormones, like he mentioned, stress and duress. For example, the stress hormones that are released in our body are cortisol and adrenaline or epinephrine. That's what's released into the bloodstream, not emotions. You don't find emotions. Emotions are abstract concepts. You won't find them in the bloodstream. That's all I wanted to say.